Welcome back to the Blazor Server In-Depth course. In this lesson, we're going to wrap up this section by going over our homework and reviewing what we've learned. So we've deployed now a Blazor application to a local IIS, which is also a representation of a IIS anywhere. We've also deployed to a hosted site, and we've deployed to an Azure web app. So we've done all three different kinds of deployments. Now, let's look at our homework and talk through what this is going to entail. So our homework is to create a simple Blazor app with one additional page. Pick one topic we've learned to add to the page, and then deploy the app to your hosting platform of choice and verify the app works and the new page works as well. What this is going to do is encourage you to know to at guest. And then in here we can have, let's be really simple. We won't worry about the formatting here. We're just going to say input text, and it's going to have a bind value of guest dot name. And we'll have our input number. It's going to have a bind value of guest dot deployment attempts. And then we'll have our button. Class equals btn, btn dash primary. And we'll have the type equal to submit. And we'll say submit. And then down below, what we're going to have is we'll have a h2 tag, like so. Actually, let's, right below this form, let's put a couple of breaks. And then in a paragraph, we're going to say, actually right above the paragraph, we'll say h3 is current values, and we'll say guest name colon at guest dot name, and we'll put a break after it, and we'll say deployment attempts and we'll say guest.deployment attempts. Okay, that'll be the live view. And this one down here will only show once we handle the edit form. Okay, so on valid submit equals handle valid submit. And we'll call this method, so private void handle valid submit. We'll have to have a Boolean here, a private bool, which by default it's private. And it's going to be hide results, or no, show results equals false by default. And then we're going to say if show results, then have that h2 tag. And that h2 tag is going to say, let's have our name first, guest.name, comma, you deployed, and then guest.deploy, come on, deployment attempts. There you go. Times. Okay, so Tim, you deployed 8 times. Just something simple like that. And so here we're going to say handle valid submit is going to be show results equals true. Okay, not the greatest of forms, but it works. And now we're going to say page demo, like so. And we'll add our navigation. So we'll say demo here, and we'll say demo, and we'll change our thing right here. We'll do one last chance for icon roulette. Hard drive. Let's run this first. Again, always make sure you run it first before you try and deploy it, because otherwise you're going to have a hard time. So demo, current name and deployment attempts. I can start typing Tim. I hit tab. Now the guest name is Tim. And if I say 8 and tab, it now says 8. And if I hit submit, it says Timmy deployed 8 times. Okay? So there's our new site with new and upgraded features. Well, let's deploy this. So I'm going to right click on Blazor app. I'm going to say publish. And let's publish to IIS. We'll hit configure. And I'm going to deploy to the file system. I'm going to deploy to that same location as before. So Blazor web app. And its release, it's NetCore 3.1, portable. I'm going to delete all existing files prior to publish. I hit save, and I hit publish. Now once this is done, we can go to, and it's not done, we've got a problem. All right, failed to build. We've got a problem. Aha. So what's happening here is it's saying, hey, you can't do that because the files are currently in use. All right. So to fix that, you have to shut down your site. All right. So if I open up my IIS and I go to this, I can go to Sites, Blazor Demo, and I hit Stop. Now let's try this again. And this should be able to publish now to my site. Succeeded. So now I can hit Start. All right. And now if I go to HTTPS localhost, just localhost, not anything else. There's our hello world. There's our demo site. I can type su2 submit. Su deployed 2 times. Okay, so it's all working and it's been deployed to our local IIS. So that is how you redeploy to an IIS site. All right, so with certain things, it's not going to be a problem. So if you FTP these files somewhere, it wouldn't be a problem to deploy them. Okay, in fact, let me do this. Let me bring up FileZilla again. And I'm going to deploy these same files. Actually, we need to do framework. Let's go to settings, framework, deployment mode, self-contained. I'm going to change where I deploy this to. Okay, so I'm going to change this from web app to, this was hosted Blazor. Everything else is the same. Hit save. And now I'll publish this. And it's going to overwrite those files I had in that directory with the latest versions. Okay, which it just did. So now I can refresh this directory. And I can connect to my howtolearncsharp.com HTTP docs. I can do a Control A, and I can drag all these over, and I can overwrite in the current queue only, and we can deploy this to our hosted site as well. The cool thing is we don't have to stop the site and restart it. Now, this is going to cause a little bit of downtime though. So just note that your deployment isn't going to be instantaneous. This is where if you use Azure and you are using a paid version of Azure, usually I think it's one step below the minimum paid version, you get deployment slots. You can deploy to a different slot, which gives you a different URL to test out and make sure it works, and then you can swap those slots. And the deployment is practically instantaneous, and it will make sure that it transfers users from one site to the other seamlessly. And so your users may not even see any downtime at all. Okay, so now we've got this running. Let's go to our website, howtolearncsharp.com, demo, and now we have our Dave 20 submit. Davey deployed 20 times. So we deploy it to our web host there as well. We could do the same thing with Azure if you wanted to. I'm not going to show you the same steps all over again, but it's the same process. Okay, just deploy to that same website. You will overwrite it, and you're good to go. Okay, so that's how we do the homework. Hopefully in this setting you've seen how to deploy to whatever kind of host that you want. It really is a pick and choose. You don't deploy to all of them, but you get to pick and choose what works best for you. Okay, whether it's Azure, which I'd recommend, or a hosted web application, which I also recommend, or whether it's IIS locally or on a server, which isn't as great because now you are responsible for all the settings and all the configuration and all that goes on with owning that server. Either way, that's it for this section. Thanks for watching.